Hey, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. Big thanks to the people who are supporting me on Patreon. Helps the channel grow, does all these great things for it. For you just finding the channel, I'm DaveTrippin. I'll put my contact down below, which is contact@DaveTrippinJapan.com, in case you want to ask me a question which may find its way into one of the videos. So now we're going to talk about this kind of time-honored question when you come to Japan, for whether it was that you were teaching, or maybe it's because you're coming here on vacation. Who knows exactly, but you have a big question, and that's whether you would go to live in the Kansai region, or visit there, or be in the Kanto region. So that's kind of, if you were thinking about the biggest major cities in these areas, it would be more north, more east, would be Tokyo, that's Kanto, and then you have Kansai, which would be Osaka. And there is an extremely distinct vibe that you find between these two places, and I have reasons for liking both and reasons perhaps for disliking both, but then that strength is often a weakness. So the first place that I ever lived in Japan for many years, in fact I've lived here now for 9 years, 8 of those years were actually in the Kanto region. I first started in Chiba Prefecture, and then I moved to Ibaraki Prefecture, which is known for natto and being the least desirable place to live. Except for the fact that if you are trying to save money and you don't have a lot, that these less desirable prefectures are actually a really, really great place to go, because when you go there, you don't have to pay a lot for rent. You can get like big, crazy places, and they'll often be new buildings, even if they're prefab, and you don't pay a lot of rent, and cost of living is really low. And there are so many beautiful places there, but that just are not so popularly known. There's one particularly in Chiba Prefecture. It's Hitachi Seaside Park, which is really cool. I believe the name of these flowers are called Nemofura, and they're these little blue flowers. I actually made a video years and years ago, still on my channel if you go digging through, where I go to that seaside park. So I'm just going to basically talk about a few highlights in each, things that I think you absolutely must visit were you to go to one or the other. So starting in Chiba, there is this museum, and it is called the Hokey Museum. And it is a museum of hyperrealism. And I was taken there by my first Japanese teacher, and it was absolutely incredible. I've never, that ultra realism is a style of art that I've never really seen that much of before. Very, very cool. That was just one of them. The next one that she recommended to me, and it's actually the place I most enjoyed, that I only recently have changed my opinion on as being like the most beautiful, amazing place in Japan, and that was to visit Nikko. And Nikko has the Tomb of Tokugawa Ieyasu. And I've gone there like 3 times. I went there when one of my friends visited me. We went and checked it out. It was incredible. It's known for being an onsen town. I never actually did that. I just went to see the tomb with my friend because it's gorgeous and elaborate. It's ornate. That's the word you would use for it. Back when I was using my Canon G7 Mark II, I think it was the first real camera I owned. But I loved going there. One of the most peaceful places I've ever visited. And then, of course, I'm skirting around the outside of this, but naturally, if you're in Kanto, then you're going to want to explore Tokyo. And in Tokyo, the number one thing that stands out for me, if I were like, oh, you got to check this out, don't miss this. I've done a couple of different neighborhood videos. Again, this is just littered through the time that I've spent on the platform. But it's Odaiba's Team Labs. And so Team Labs is essentially an art installation exhibit where you would go there with friends, or perhaps on a date, as I did once upon a time, and you can have an incredible time, because it's one thing to observe art, but what's really, really special about these Team Labs installations is that you become a part of the art, and I think that that's a really fascinating feature of them. I really love Team Labs, and in fact a video I did for Wow to You not too long ago, I went to a restaurant called Uzu Ramen here in vegan ramen here in Kyoto, and it was done alongside Team Labs. They designed this structure over the wall there, which is essentially like this screen which has what looks like calligraphy in a void being created, and it's very beautiful, and you have glass on either side of you creating the impression of infinity on either side of you. It is the most distinguished experience of eating ramen that I've ever had. So I could recommend other neighborhoods as well. I really love Kichijoji. It's incredibly charming, and it has this is in Tokyo again, it has the, Studio Ghibli Museum that you can go to, which is a lot of fun. Very, very intimate park called Inokashira Park, which is amazing. And then if you want to go a little bit more vintage, a little bit more hipster, the one that I always throw out is Shimokitazawa. That's a really, really cool neighborhood there. And then I'm going to do one more. Nakameguro Canal in spring, to walk up and down this canal with all the food stalls. And if you look for yakitori. That's that food on a stick, generally chicken. And there's a place there at Nakameguro Canal in spring that has some of the best yakitori I've ever had in my whole life. So those are a few places that I would suggest to visit were you in Kanto region. This could go on for several hours. It'll end up, by the way, probably on a podcast that I go into, like what neighborhoods I really loved or places that I really enjoyed. So that's Nikko, is a little recap for you. That's Nikko. Check it out for Tokugawa Ieyasu's shrine, or tomb, I suppose. And then when it comes to, if you're in Tokyo, check out Odaiba and go to the Team Labs installation that they have there, because it's incredible. Maybe one of the most romantic experiences of your life if you go with the right person. And then for neighborhoods, Kichijoji, Shimokitazawa, and I was saying Nakameguro Canal in spring when you go there and all the cherry blossoms are out. And you can see this very cute cat that like perches up in the cherry blossoms and is very self-aware that it is very popular. Now, only in a very, very short period of time, I've lived in the Kansai region for a year now, but I'll use that boring phrase to say that I've fallen in love with it. And it's in large part because I've been able to hang out with people who have lived here for some time, and so while there are things that are cool and popular and well known, I've been introduced to a lot of different places that I had no idea were even a part of the fabric of here, but are so amazing, and I would say perhaps more so than what people most commonly know about. So one of the places that I would recommend when you're in Kansai, this is one so well worth exploring, would be Wakayama. Wakayama has I'm going to make a whole dedicated video to this. It's this area called Koyasan, and it's this ancient cemetery that's in the middle of this massive forest of old 1,000-year plus old years trees. And where I was saying like the most beautiful place that I'd ever been in my life in Japan before this was Nikko. It's finally been upended. It's finally been taken over by Koyasan because it was incredible. Really, really, like the energy there was unbelievable. And strangely enough, I went there when it was sunny, and I think it would be best in the rain to catch the sort of melancholia that you experience when you're there, which is a kind of beautiful sadness. It's really, really, really cool. So that was a huge one. After having gone there, I was like, okay, I've got to tell people about this. They've got to experience it. That would be wonderful. The next thing I would say is just Kyoto itself. I know Kyoto is popular, or seems to be popular, but just because I know about it and other tourists come here doesn't mean that you know about it, so I can recommend it, and that's my new home, and I'm very happy to live here. It's a really amazing thing if you want to talk about cost of living again, where what you get in Kansai is you get Osaka, and then you have Kyoto here, and then you have Kobe here, and each one of these cities is so charactered, has a different style, very, very cool, quite large. Osaka is another mega city. It just plays second fiddle to Tokyo because Tokyo is so massive. But you have easy access to all of these here and can get a very, very different vibe out of each of them. And it's incredible. I like to talk about, I made a video when I first arrived here, but I'll talk about it again now, just how never in my life have I seen such a great cross-section between what is urban and what is natural, and you really do get that in Kyoto. It's an incredible thing to me that I live like 4 minutes away from a river, which is the central feature of the city, and there is such a culture there. There's like kamokapuru, it's like specific phrase where it's talking about how couples just go down and sit next to the river all the time. It's an incredibly relaxing place to be so near and to be a part of, and it's wonderful. And then the rest of the city has all these beautiful canals, which all these restaurants and shops are adjacent to. So much to enjoy. And then, where I really enjoy hiking, all around the city, there are so many places that you can go that it's like a 20-minute hike or a 20-minute ride away, if you were on a train. And then you're up this beautiful hiking trail and you get all these crazy views of the city. Food here is delicious, affordable, amazing. The food is so, so good here. Tokyo as well, but very, very good in Kyoto. And if you go to Osaka, they have this expression. I made a video on this again for Wow to You back when I was doing that, where it's called kuidaore, and it means like eat until you die. And you have this incredible contrast when you go to some of the restaurants in Osaka, where it's like the dirtiest place that you have ever been, and it is serving you the most immaculate, amazing food you've ever had in your entire life. So there's this incredible like roughness that is so good in Osaka. That's the final thing I think I'll end on here, is that where Kyoto is so huge and there are so many people there, and if you desire to disappear, that's a great place to go. And some people do want that. They don't want to stand out. They just want to live their life and be, left alone. You'll get that really, really well in Tokyo. But in Kyoto, it's amazing to me actually how, in Osaka, how way more open and friendly and just easily it is that you could strike up a conversation with like a random Japanese person or Japanese national from Osaka. That I'd heard before I came here that, the people there are very bohemian, very open-minded. And it's true. It's not just a myth. Since I've come here, I can definitely see that. And there's not quite so much the obsession with rules and right behavior that you would find in other places. People aren't so go like they would be in Tokyo. I don't think that one is better. I think that one will be preferable for the kind of personality type that you have. So if you're going for a little bit more artsy, laid back, Osaka is a great place to be. If you want the height of energy, everybody going a mile a minute, then Tokyo is the place that you're going to want to visit. So I would say places for great food. It's called Tambabashi. That's a place you can go in Osaka, so for great food. Koyasan, for getting that cultural experience. And then finally, if you go north of Kyoto, you come to the Sea of Japan. And I think this is one of the most underappreciated places. I went to Obama to do some filming and stuff there, and it's white sand beaches. You get all these beautiful white sand beaches along the coast of the Sea of Japan. And I really feel like nobody gets or is aware of how beautiful it is up there. So if you're planning a trip, this can be a way to go. If you're considering cost of living, Tokyo's more expensive. As soon as you go outside of that, it gets cheaper. And then generally speaking, I would say that Kansai is less expensive than Tokyo in every respect. Even if you were in Osaka, it's still going to be cheaper. And then if you live as I do in Kyoto, you can get like really, really good prices on living downtown and nice buildings. I believe the yen is not worth so much right now, is it? But I just do direct conversion. I pay about $750 for my apartment that you find me in right now. And that with conversion, it might even be like $700. And it's 35 square meters, I believe. I don't know what that is in feet, but it's spacious. I got like my bedroom here, I got the office here, I got a kitchen there, and other basic amenities. Does everything you need. So this is a little breakdown, fun, mile a minute. I wanted to get something up to speak to you guys, to create a little point of contact here. As I said at the beginning, if you got any questions, don't hesitate to write me. Having gotten ahead of the train with this video, I'm now going to edit one of these special places that I've now talked about in Kyoto, which I was taken and is not so popularly known, called Otokayama. And it is cool. I think it was in honor of Nobunaga, who was a quite distinct historical warlord here in Japan. And it was like very masculine architecture, beautiful colors. We got a perfect golden light day when we went there. It's going to be a really exciting video. I've got the song picked out for it and everything. I hope that you're doing really well. I hope that you're happy. I hope that you're healthy. And don't take up too much time on the internet and drive yourself nuts. Get out there in the fresh air. Hug the ones you love. That's all for now. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.